By the way, this is, in my opinion, one of the hardest courses you probably have had so far. It's the most rewarding one as well. So, and I really prepared for this course quite a while to make it probably to give you a good feeling before you leave in college that you really took one of the courses that I believe in 2 years from now, you will appreciate a lot of that. And in a minute, I will mention what I will say what I mean. So let's start. The Academy City, you start to know that, yeah, it's building up. Our link going to stay the same. I'm showing it on the main screen on Academy City. This is going to be for all the sessions. It's always will be open at 7 o'clock. We start the session 7:15. We end up the session an hour and a half later. And I always record all the sessions and upload them and make a link for you so you can review them. As you know, you need to sign up and then log in. So I'm going to log in with admin. So just in case I find any errors, I fix them right away and you see the results right away. So I'm in now and I'm going to courses. And by the way, this is the course we took last semester. This is the machine learning, okay? You don't have to start registering. You can register by clicking register, and we did it last year. The coupon this time is ML100, but please don't do it yet. I'm going to send an organized message with a little video so you don't get confused on how to do it and you don't have to take any notes, okay? Yeah. This course, I wish you took before, but I'm going to add a lot of stuff that I put in this preliminary course inside here and make up for a lot of knowledge you should have known, but you're missing, but that's okay, that's part of life. How do we go to the course? We click on machine learning, and this is the main screen, okay? The lectures are right here. Today, we're gonna cover let me start with the topics. Sorry, let me start with the introductions. Okay, the introductions, I will even change it over time and I will add stuff as we go along. But, and this one, what I want to cover today. So everything will be right online, right in here, okay? Moreover, I made something very special for this course. And I'm going to open it up first. I'll go back to the topics. By the way, there is a book. I finally found a really good book. It's an excellent book. Let me open it up. This is going to be our book for the class. You're not going to go over 720 pages, okay? We're going to cover mostly the first 3 chapters. They are excellent, and I did something very special for you. What do I mean by that? I'll first demonstrate, then I will talk about it. I think chapter 1 is page 19, if I recall. Here we go. This is chapter 1. Okay, chapter 1 is really the introductions. Frankly, it's much more than introduction. It's much more than introduction. It's really have even the process itself. There is in each chapter code that you need to know or understand. So let me jump. I'm jumping. You will get to a page like that. You will get scared. Very natural. You should be scared. Okay? But my job is to make sure you don't get scared. For example, you see this picture right here, okay? You're supposed to know how to make it yourself on Python. Can you do it? Most likely you don't. So I bet something very special so you can do it step by step. And even if you don't know the whole detail, that's not the objective of the course, but at least to lead you to be able to get one day to the point you can do it on your own. Okay? What my message? My message is, if we're studying a course like machine learning, it is not a trivial course. You will need to know machine learning algorithms, but in addition, you should be able to do it yourself. Because if you can't really do it yourself, well, theory alone, it's not enough. So we're going to use that book, and I'm going to give you all the tools to make your life easier, okay, during the semester. Questions so far? Go ahead, I'm listening. I can't hear you. It's hard for me to, if I understood. The book, I found it's a free book. The book is free. The book is online. It's really, I found it on the internet. It's a free book and it's relatively new. I think it's 2018 or 2017. It's an excellent book. It really is one of the best I found. O'Reilly is also a good publisher. And if you can handle the first 3 chapters, that's really my requirement. We will use some in chapter 9, and I will give you a detail exactly what I'm expecting, what I mean by that. If you go into the syllabus, by the way, here is the syllabus. It's exactly the same syllabus that it's on Moodle. So if you click here, here you have the instructions. I mean, like introductory, what is this course is about. And here is every session, more or less. We might be a little ahead, might be a little back, depends on our progress. And here on the right side, I wrote what the assignments are, what the reading I'm expecting you to make. For example, chapter 1 means chapter 1 in this book. And I try even to give you the right pages for example, I expect you for after this session, reach pages 19 to 31. Excellent reading, really well written, and don't touch the code until I tell you. I might talk about the code, but I'm not requiring you to do any code without me helping you. Is that clear? Hello? Moya?
It's clear, it's clear.
Yes, clear.
Very good. So I try to make detail. As we go along, I might even modify it slightly. I will add, for example, there is assignment, okay? Assignment 3, implement class code. What I will do, I will see how is our progress. I will go here and I will even put inside the due date. And I modify it right here. So everybody, you don't have to go to the Moodle or any place. Fair enough? Here will be our like dynamic syllabus, I would call it. It's not that I'm changing. I'm not going to change any content. It's just the due date, or if I find that some pages, I will clarify them during the session. I might change which pages you will read. This is really good, and I split it in the right way. I know in the beginning it will be really hard for you to read. Later on, it will get easier, okay? That's one topic. So we have a good book for the course. Objective is to finish chapter 1 to chapter 3. All the other chapters diving in more advanced topic. I'm not sure what is your mathematical level. As we go along and I will find it out, I might dive deeper. I wish I can. If I can, I will be more than happy to do that.
Amos,
Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
I have a friend who would like to learn more about machine learning. Can she participate in the course?
More than welcome. More than welcome. By the way, you might don't notice, I have my previous student from Ivory Coast is also listening to this session now. My son is also listening to this session. And I have another student from another place. The whole beauty of the Academy City, it's you know, they're not going to get any credit from IDC, but they would like to learn it. And honestly, this is one of the most beautiful course you want. You want to be able to handle. It's not an easy one, but it's very rewarding. Okay, I'm going back to here, and I don't want to start with the technical one. I want to start with the content, then the last 15 minutes, or maybe in the middle, let's see how I feel, and then I will jump to what else we need for this course, okay? So let me dive, first of all, talk what is machine learning before we get into the technical. But I hope that as the first things is, please don't get intimidated by code. Do not, okay? And I think it's the first time that I'm writing it in any one of my courses. Things you should know before you start. And the first things I wrote is curiosity. And then you'll say, what the heck is curiosity has to do with anything? And frankly, you guys living in a beautiful world, beautiful time. And the world, honestly, it's a beautiful time. You know, I wish I had time to study about the coronavirus. And with machine learning, you can find a job even in a research project that has to do with coronavirus, and you can help the team by programming whatever the algorithms are, okay? Second part, beside curiosity, that you really love to study. You should love to study, otherwise go find another job. If you really need to be a hard worker and never give up. Moria knows, we went through a process today, and I admire her, honestly, I admire you too, guys. But always be hardworking, never give up, because eventually the reward is huge, okay? Then the third point, which is really a requirement for this course, not the third one, the fourth one more, but the third one, I don't know your level in linear algebra. I don't know what your level is in statistics, but there are two things that I would strongly recommend you take courses or implement or increase your level as much as you can. I will try to stay away from the math as much as I can in this course. You can get by without knowing all of that math, but you will be missing something. So I will say I will handle it during the semester. After knowing mathematics and statistics come, how do I implement it? I'm implementing everything in Python with few major packages. There's millions of, not millions, but at least tens of packages. And there are the four ones that I strongly recommend, at least the first three. Pandas, you must know. NumPy, you must know. Scikit-learn, you must know. In this course, I'm going to focus on those three. TensorFlow, if we have time, I will expose you to. I do most of my research in TensorFlow. It's a library written by Microsoft. Came out in 2015, toward the end of 2015. I write all my code today in TensorFlow. It's really beautiful framework for running big projects, or I should really say deep learning type of. Our last session, I'm going to dedicate to big data, and I will talk about it a little more, and I will introduce some of my research that I do. And frankly, I just got, last year I published more than 8 articles, which is crazy. So people ask me, how you finish so many? It's because I went in the right order that I just wrote down here. I didn't skip any stage. When you get to the level that you master those 3 libraries, jump to TensorFlow, and the sky is the limit. Really. Now, I know you guys, really, from last semester. I think every one of you has the ability to be excellent. You know, I really do, from my experience with you. So you're welcome. Now, By the way, if I want to ask you, how many of you know that I'm an economist, by the way? Anybody doesn't know that I'm an economist? Anyone in the class?
CPA.
I am also a CPA.
We didn't know that you're an economist, sir.
By the way, my PhD is in economics from University of Chicago. Look it up, what is University of Chicago. I'm not trying to brag. Please, not really. It's not. My point is to emphasize that learning to program, it's a must. If you are an economist, if you are an accountant, if you are a finance person, if you are an HR, you're going to be a manager tomorrow. 5 years from now, if you don't know really if you don't really have a very solid programming skills, you won't be able to be a good manager. The reason I mentioned that I'm an economist to re-emphasize the importance of learning programming, machine learning, business intelligence, not to tell you that I'm an economist. That wasn't the point. The point is saying I'm an economist, and in order to be a good economist, I have learned a lot about programming. So most of my research is in finance, economics, accounting, and programming, machine learning, BI, it's my tools. It's not the main topic. For me, they are all tools. So I really recommend to you to do the same. Tomorrow, you know, you get a PhD in physics, you get a PhD, I don't know in what, you get a job in high profile in finance in some company, you really need that skills to do your job very well. So please don't kill me if I make you look at the code. I really organized it in such a way so the pain will be as less as possible, okay? So that was my point for number 4. I mentioned here as long as we go along, I will catch up. By the way, immediately I'm going to give you 2 files that will help you to learn Python, object-oriented Python, and then I will talk about NumPy. And Pandas, I will complete knowledge as we go along. NumPy is very important, but the real most important is object-oriented in Python, and I know you did not have the knowledge in object-oriented. So I will complete that knowledge as well. And as you go and see the code and the way I organize it, it's almost a must. Okay. After this session, okay, we're going to install a framework. Please do not do that. I already made sure that it works beautifully on Windows. It should work beautifully on Mac because everything we're using, it's a platform independent. I'm just not an expert on Mac, and hopefully in the next couple of days, I will make a video on how to install the same things on the Mac itself. Moria is helping me big time, and Daniel is helping me big time. Anyone that knows the Mac and want to help, more than welcome. But I'm going to talk to Moshik. I think he taught you Python, and he's using, Moria told me that he's using Mac, so I'm going to hook up with him and probably will solve one issue that we have. We solve it, I will make a video, and then we install the framework. We don't need it for now, so don't panic. It will work and it will be fine. Okay. So in the framework, what do we have in the framework? In the framework, we have code that we will use in the course, code that you will add to the framework, links to the website, and then links to this book. Okay, let me just show it to you. This is the framework. I'm not going to go over it today. As I said before, I want to focus on what is machine learning today. Next time, we'll talk about the framework. But just to demonstrate it, we will be using something called PyCharm. There's many of those ones. You will have it installed on your computer. You will run one command. It will open up. It will open up a website. Meaning, this is the website sitting on your computer with everything you will need for this course. For example, after you get to this, by the way, let me just re-emphasize. After you install, you'll get to this screen. On the left side, you have a link to my website. This is exactly what I just showed you. So you don't have to juggle around. You immediately get to the website with the material. The next one, you have a link to the book that I just showed you. So after you install this framework on your computer, you have everything you need. Everybody clear? Everybody questions?
No questions.
Here.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you notice on the top here, this is the 127.0.0.1. It is really a website on your computer. So you're using really, this is like on the browser, but it really is like a website. Okay. Next things that I want to show, I'm going to click on introductions to machine learning. If you see, there are 3 chapters here. Let's click on chapter number 1. Okay. And I'm going to click on the first one. It says plot JDP. Let me do the second. Let me do. No, I tell you which one I want to do. I want to do. Where's the California? 1 second. I want to show you the chart that I just showed you a second ago. The California housing prices. Okay. I clicked on that. It cooked bingo. This is the picture I just showed you a second ago. Is that right?
Yeah.
Same things. Don't you want to know how to do it?
Yeah.
You would
Yes.
like to know. But is that part of machine learning?
Yeah.
Definitely yes. The first step in machine learning is first stage in machine learning. What happened? Okay, I'm gonna mute everybody, okay? Sorry. And I will open it up when I ask questions. Okay. This one, it's exactly the same picture as we saw here. But where is the code that made that one? First of all, it's scary. You can get scared. How do I do it? Just for general knowledge, it's really part of machine learning. Why? Because I want to visualize my data. And here I'm getting like 4 dimensions. What do I mean by that? I have longitude and latitude, longitude, latitude in California area. And the circles tell me the size of the population. And the 4 dimension kind of by the color, I can tell where are the high prices and low prices. Okay? So I see a lot of population here. A lot, not surprising, a lot of population here. Okay? San Diego, very crowded. People love to live in San Diego. Prices are extremely high along the shore. That's really just giving me a visualization of seeing the data before I start using sophisticated algorithm. So visualization will be one of the topics we talk about. Now you ask yourself, Amos, where is the code for it? So I can tell you, oh, go here. And the book has all the code. By the way, the book also provides you with all the code. By the way, here is the how you install, blah, blah, blah. You are not going, we're not going to use Jupyter. We are not going to use, and I have something that is really much more professional and will make you really more ready when you leave school to real life. You're going to use real life system to learn this code. Let me just show it a little bit, and then I'm going back to talk about machine learning. Here I organize, this is really 4 major pages that you will master most likely by the end of the semester. Am I requiring you to know every line here? Definitely not. I will explain what I mean. Here, for example, I made an object. We will learn about objects later on. And inside this object that's called algo, for algorithms, I made a function called save figure. If you really want to know how you save pictures into the computer, okay, you can learn this function. If you don't feel like, I won't make you. You just will be able to know how to use this function. For example, I'm using this function inside the code here. If you drag along, you see, this is the only things I need, and that objects will do the job for me, will save the file in the right place. That's good after you really have a good knowledge of programming. You allow yourself not to get into the detail. But I really strongly recommend that in step 1, go into the detail and then start packaging them and forget about it. Honestly, I wrote this function. In fact, I took it from the book. I knew how to put it in the right place. And from now on, just forget about how it works. I don't really care. What I do care to know how to use it. But when I built it first time, I did go line by line. I understood everything. Bingo, close it. I don't care about it anymore. Okay? That's the style I'm going to teach. So that's basically 4 pages that we will need. There will be 2 more, I should say. And that's more or less, and it's beautifully organized. Everything's in the right places. Beginning it will look hard, but eventually it will look really nice and easy. One more thing, and I'm done. I want to give another example. Okay, let me click here, and I'm click on get data. Bingo, and I get, oh, beautiful. Did you realize how fast it works? By the way, as I clicked, it downloaded the data from the website, one of the website, and it showed it to me. Okay, I do expect you, you know what, it's not essential for this course. I'm not even going to test you on that. I strongly recommend you learn it for real life. If you go here and you say, well, hey, by the way, when you go down here, you see it's exactly the same table. So I made everything possible to make your life studying Python in the right way and the less painful way. We will learn how we got it. Okay, you see all of that stuff we have done before. What is it? We'll go over and I will explain during the semester. You really want to know how does it work. Okay, let me open the mute. I'm going unmute and I want to hear questions. Go ahead, guys. If you have questions, guys. Any questions? David?
We have no questions.
Maya? Rafael?
No questions. Thank you.
Everyone happy? Good. That was the technical part. We will go over it in class. Okay?
My hands were dirty. I'm here.
Wonderful. So,
I'm with you.
beautiful. So if you notice, I made another folder here. These 2 we're going to start with, not today. This one is introductions to Python. We'll have a nice review, but in a professional way. Okay? We'll go over this one and I will teach you Python. Toward the end is object-oriented. So don't get scared. Everything is really well documented, organized. This one will help us to study NumPy. NumPy basically deals with how to organize a multi-dimensional view. Like we learn in BI, we talked about dimensions.
Who's playing music in the background?
All right, I'm going to close the microphones. Okay. NumPy basically is a library in Python that deals with multi-dimensional array. Okay, most of the time we'll use 2 dimension, but you can use more than 2 dimension. Okay, those are the 2 basic. I might expand it later on to other stuff, but for now, That's enough for our course. Okay, let me close this one and go back to our session. Just one last time before I start, I want to see if anybody has any questions. Any questions, guys?
No, we're good.
Good.
No.
No questions.
Wonderful. By the way, isn't there a way you can mark to me if you want to ask a question? There should be.
The raise hand button.
Raise hand or something, and then I will see it. Wonderful. Okay, good. I'm muting just so it would be a little easier so you can hear me. Okay. Okay, this is really the introduction. All the stuff going to be on this website. Our website is Academy City, and here is we starting to learn about machine learning. What are the topics? Every topic will start with all the topics. I will put them here. We have introduction. This is really exactly the lectures for now. Next time, in fact, this one I'm not going to spend almost any time on class for this one. I'm going only to summarize a little bit, but I'm expecting you to be able to install it outside of the class. And I will make myself available to extra sessions if anybody needs help. But I don't want to take the time of the class. And I repeat, anytime you want me, guys, I will make extra sessions to help you with installations. So we don't waste our class time on installations. Okay, so that's number 2. And then we start, here I talked about prerequisite. Here I just put the code, by the way, here, I just put the code that I just mentioned. And here, strongly recommended to you really, if you, this is an excellent, excellent, excellent material. Those one are easy. If you have full time, go ahead. You don't really have to. I'm gonna cover it in half an hour and then an hour, and then you just go and watch it. Here are excellent, for example, Python online editor. You can click here and it will give you an editor for Python. I use it if you run it. It's a while since, I never really use it. Just telling student to how to execute, and then on the right side, you will see whatever you write on the left side, it will do it on the right side, okay? Excellent material for student. I'm not going to use it. I do strongly recommend you use it. If you're just trying to practice on a specific code, this is an excellent source. There's another one which has excellent examples, okay? This is a beautiful website, has very good, some of them very advanced also. By the way, I think there's even a factorial. I always like to demonstrate with factorial, but there's a lot of, here we go, in fact, this one, I think. This is the code for factorial. If you studied in mathematics factorial, so run that one, experiment with this one. It's not necessary for the course. Frankly, I recommend, look at it, don't go over all the examples. Just take one or two, practice a little bit, and don't get scared, okay?
Amos,
Yeah?
are all of these resources on Academy City? Or
Everything's. By the way, I'm in Academy City now.
even this website is on Academy City?
Yeah, see, in fact, this is not my site, by the way. Here's my site, but I gave you a link to it. You see that?
Okay.
When you click on it, it will open a new window. You can practice there. Then Python, NumPy tutorial. I took a lot of my examples that I organized for you. This is a wonderful source. I took a lot of this material, by the way, organized them for you inside here. So this page, you see intro to NumPy, I took from that web page. I just organized them in a more professional way. Usually people don't use, this one, you can take it, copy it, and move it to another place. And I will teach you how you really go over this code in a more professional way. But this is a beautiful website to learn about NumPy. so you can expand your knowledge on that one. You know, frankly, if 10 years from now, you will know 10% of what out there, you're a genius. Over time, you should develop skills, how you learn for what you need. And that's what I would try to do during the semester. Okay? So I'm going to close this one. And this one we're going to start with. This one in fact, so this is really I already put it for you, so you don't even have to download it, just in case you want. But this one is already embedded in the system. Okay, this will be the first one we will start with. In fact, this one is already in here, built in. This is the first page. It's already, this is the one we will start when we start coding, but we're not going to start coding. The reason I'm emphasizing it, to take away the fear that a lot of you do have, and it's well justified because it really does scare. First time it's scary, but we will go step by step, and hopefully I will be proud of you by the end of the semester. Okay, let me go now to the real stuff. So that was the intro, prerequisite, and then later on, we will talk about supervised learning, and we'll talk about model selections. I will try to make it similar to the book as much as I can, but I will add, in the class, I will add more example to enrich your knowledge beyond what is in the book. Okay? Okay, so let's start. First one is introduction, and what is introduction? By the way, it sounds machine learning, it sounds such a robotic kind of a topic. Anybody wants to give a chance or describe what is a machine learning? I'm going to open up, so feel free to jump. Anybody want to give it a chance? In your own world, you know, I'm showing you here a screen, you know, you know what, let me make it even bigger.
Machine
learning.
learning. Machine learns.
Huh?
Where your machine learns by
What
itself.
does it mean? What does it mean, machine learning?
Well, the machine makes mistakes, and once it makes a mistake, it learns not to make that mistake again, and it keeps doing it again and again and again until it finally reaches the goal, whether it's a maze or whether it's to understand.
Beautiful. Hold a second. Hold on.
Yeah.
Who is that? What's your name again?
Mendy.
Mehdi.
Mehdi, look at the down. You are ahead of me. See how much you are ahead. We're
Well,
going to
this
talk
is my
about,
understanding of machine learning.
here, hold a second.
And he's a very smart
These
guy.
are the main three types of learning we're going to deal with, which are the most common ones. One is called supervised learning, one is called unsupervised learning, and one is called reinforcement learning. Do you want to read it? Can you read it?
Well, we learned about the first two briefly in another class.
I know, because everybody likes that, but the one you just described, which is one of my favorite, honestly, I love that this way of machine learning.
Oh, me too. There's some great YouTube videos of like people who created like an AI trying to learn the racing track, and it just keeps crashing
Exactly,
and
or
crashing.
playing a game against the computer, against someone else. The computer is learning how my opponent is really behaving, and I'm just that's called reinforcement.
Okay.
Can you read it? Read it to us.
Sure. Reinforcement learning. In reinforcement learning, the agent starts with an initial model and then continuously learns the model based on the feedback from the environment. A reinforcement learning agent learns or updates the model by applying supervised or unsupervised learning techniques as part of the reinforcement learning algorithms. It's kind of how evolution happened.
Exactly. So this is really my favorite. Did you have economics classes?
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Did you study the Solow model, for example?
Yes. We learned
That's a
so.
dynamic process. Did you learn Bellman equation? That's a little more advanced.
I don't recall.
The beauty about reinforcement learning, I wish I had it when I did my PhD, because this one takes away so many assumptions that economists do when they learn something similar to what we do in reinforcement. And unfortunately, it was so unsuccessful for a lot of economists trying to predict stuff or to analyze stuff. And since the reinforcements came along, it's opened the door to many studies and removed so many assumptions. So this is a beautiful topic. So thank you. This is good. So let's go back. Since you already learned and you mentioned them, let's just see what the difference between supervised and unsupervised, and then go back to our question. What do we mean by those two, supervised and unsupervised? Let's start with supervised. Anybody wants to help? Anybody?
Is it when you give information to the computer and then tell it to do something and like examine how it does it, and then like go the next step, give it some more information, like require him, like is it more like a step-by-step and seeing how he reacts to it without letting him like have a lot of information at one point and like letting it go through it?
Close. But let me give you an example, a very primitive example. Let's say, you know, when you walk into the room, okay, most likely you will identify all the girls and most likely you will identify all the boys. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because boys looks different than girls most of the time, yeah, without the exceptions, okay? And your brain have learned how to distinguish a boy from girls. But when you were born, you didn't know anything about boys, you didn't know anything about girls. At least I didn't know, okay? And over time, I saw boys, I saw girls, and my brain tried to see the characteristics of boys and I see the characteristics of girls. And then when I see a new girl, I can say, oh, I never saw this girl, but I know she's a girl, although I never saw her. In fact, so all the girls I've seen in my life before, I saw what's the link between characteristics of girls and knowing that she is a girl. So I'm giving the computer a set of girls, all the characteristics of girls, and tell the computer that she is a girl. Then I'm giving him another set and I'm telling him, this is a set of boys. And I tell the computer, go learn about it like a child does. So the computer is learning what distinguishes girls from boys. And why do I call it supervised? Because I'm telling him the first group, they're all girls. The second group is all boys. That's why it's supervised. I'm giving him knowledge that I know that they are girls and I know that they are boys. Later on, when a girl walks into the room, the computer will identify her as a girl without me telling him she's a girl.
אוי,
Exactly.
סגרת?
That's supervised learning. So far, so good?
אני אעשה לך גם תפוחי אדמה בצד, שתוכל להוסיף למרק.
מי אוכל תפוחי אדמה? נא להעביר דרך הוואטסאפ, בבקשה.
Almost you should mute everybody while you're speaking.
Yeah, that's right. I really just love to hear you. That's why.
I told you I'm making
But you're
soup,
right,
Amos.
right. I should.
It doesn't make everything boring.
You're
doesn't.
right. Okay. Let me go. You know what? I would just leave it open for another few minutes. I want to hear you. Now that I explained what supervised, how about, what do I mean by unsupervised? Okay, you want to give it a chance? Anybody want to give a chance to it? Sophie? You know, we talk about supervised.
who's the boys and who's the girls.
You know, I gave the supervisor, I gave the computer, I gave him a group of boys, a group of girls. I told him the first group is girls, the second group is boys. Learn it. Now, if I give him a boy, I'm just showing him somebody, it will say, oh, according to what I learned before from the other two groups, this is a boy. I show him a girl, he says, from whatever I learned before, this is a girl. Now, what do I do in unsupervised? Anybody?
You would it would pick the characteristics, like it would look at a bunch of images and say which characteristics have in common and then group those.
Beautiful. Let's apply that to the girl and boys that I just talked about a second ago. What do I do to the computer? I give him only the character, I give him two groups, for example, but I don't tell him those are boys and those are girls. And I ask him, can you please tell me which group are boys or which groups are girls? In fact, he will not know who are the girls and the boys. All what I will ask him, can you distinguish those two groups? And that's what I do in unsupervised. In unsupervised, I don't tell him anything about each group. I just give him two groups and I ask him, please split them to two. Can you do it? And that's what he does in unsupervised learning. Anybody got it? Clear?
Basically,
The,
it
I have a
divides
question,
and
Emma.
labels the groups, basically.
Exactly. It will make some mistake. It will put maybe a boy in the group of the girls, but that's part of the errors that they might do. Okay? And we'll talk about it. But the objective is to tell the computer, divide this class that has boys and girls, divide them to two. And he's supposed to come up and say, all those are girls, all those are boys. Okay? Without me telling him who are the girls and who are the boys. Beautiful. So we finished the class according to...
Amos,
No, but we didn't. We just jumped ahead. So I'm going to go back. We were talking about what is a machine learning. Basically, a machine learning learns stuff from data we give it, and we ask him, please help us. And he can help us in a lot of ways. He can help us to divide two groups. In boys and girls, it's easy. We can do that too. But many times could be a lot of very complex. For example, anybody have a clue what really gave the machine learning the push that people really like that? In the book he's talking about it, so please read those, the first few pages. And he mentioned it, and it's well known that, you know, you take it for granted now in your email, when you get the spam, it goes to the right folder, is that right?
Yeah.
When I remember when emails came the first time, it was a nightmare. You get all those spam. And then when you get the spam, the only way you could do it, you mark which one are spam. So next time you get an email from this same address, it will put it in the spam. It didn't have that ability to distinguish between a spam message to a non-spam. Today, machine learning does it. And that stuff we will learn over the course, how the machine learning does it. So that's one thing that gave a machine learning the push, and people start really liking it. And today you can do a lot of, much more than that. Okay, here I put another definition, and I think we covered most of it. You can go ahead and read it. So let's jump ahead. So why do we learn machine learning? Well, machine learning, you know, sometimes we don't really have the expertise. Okay, human expertise does not exist. Many times, navigating on Mars, can you navigate on Mars? No way. If I give you a car to drive on Mars, no way, you'll crash. Humans are unable to explain their expertise, speech recognition. Let's push it a little more even. How about, you know, I'm working now on my software for business simulation, which teaches in the MBA course. It's one of the last courses in MBA. There you learn how to manage a company. And I'm trying to do this simulation internationally. So you'll have students from China, you'll have students from the US, students from Israel, and eventually you want them to be able to communicate. So the people in China don't really know English, or maybe they do to some extent. People in the US or in Israel, they don't know Chinese. And I would like them to collaborate. It would be really nice when you type something in English, it's automatically translated to Chinese in a decent way that they can understand. Can we do that today? Definitely yes. That's called speech translation, not just speech recognition. Many of you have noticed when you write an email, okay? You write half a sentence and then you complete the sentence. How do you do that? It's machine learning. In fact, it's already jumping into deep learning, which is a higher level course, but we will touch on that one as we go along, okay? So again, I won't jump on everything here. I'll try to focus on the important stuff, and this one you can read yourself. How about the self-driving machine? By the way, this is a real case. So, you know, when they made the competitions, who can really drive the car by a robot that bring the car, and this has really gave a big jump to machine learning / deep learning, that a car can drive himself through the desert. And those guys that won the competition in 2005, that was the beginning of people realize this is real stuff. So now for you, you're here in Google developing automatic cars and all of those companies working on how you make self-driven cars. It's just evolution of something that have started 2005. So this is beautiful stuff, honestly. I think it's probably the most amazing topic you can really be involved in. How about the recommendation system? I asked you in the exam, can you combine BI inside operation system? We call it operational BI. It used to be operational BI. Many of you ask me, is data mining, it's part of BI or it is outside of BI? So if you asked that question 15 years ago, I would tell you it's part of BI. And today, there's no real, BI, you can say data mining originally was to explore the data that you use in your business. And now the line between machine learning and data mining, it's kind of vague. It's not as clear as it used to be. And today you can use machine learning for recommendation. For example, if you have a CRM, so a customer relationship management, you apply machine learning to recommend customers. If you see that the lady or the boy is scanning all the stuff that she bought, and then you realize that usually a basket like that usually buy additional stuff. So it's automatically analyze her basket, and you will see what other people have done with the same basket. You will say, oh, didn't you forget maybe to buy the lotion or something like that? Maybe you need the diapers, I don't know, because all the other stuff, meaning that she should have bought the other one as well. That's called a recommendation system. And that's a machine learning algorithm. Some people really use it, call it as part of data mining, but it doesn't really matter how you call it. It's an algorithm that helps you how to recommend to somebody to do something. Here is another example regarding Netflix, and I will let you read it. It's similar idea. Okay, let's take another example. How do we handle credit risk analysis? What do you think about that one? Can machine learning help me in identifying who should I, give a loan to and who I shouldn't give a loan to? Anybody? I'm unmuting. So anybody wants to help? Go ahead.
Could you repeat that?
Here, this one. You have a credit risk analysis. You are a banker and you want to help the clerk when somebody come and ask for a loan. And I want to give an automated system. Can you develop an automated system for the clerk, or you can?
Don't they already have that in Bank Leumi up to $1 million shekels?
Absolutely right. So the question is that, we know it is, but just trying to think about what am I trying to do in machine learning so it will be automated.
So they'll look at the people that
not
paid
be-
back the loan, and then they'll compare it to the person applying.
So you say, well, I can compare them to other people in the same situation and see how.
Like the criteria of other people that already paid it back, the loan.
Beautiful. Beautiful. By the way, you just mentioned something we're going to go over next session. It's the difference between instance learning to model learning. And you just mentioned the method called instance. You look at all other instances, and I'm trying to match my customer to other people similar to him and infer if I should give him a loan or not. Okay? Another way you can go about it, you say, okay, let's look at the data as you did, and let's take all the data and see which variable of the people or which parameters is the most important parameter to distinguish between people that pay their loans and the people that don't pay their loans. I will talk about an algorithm that's called decision tree. Did anyone mention decision tree? Okay, so basically decision tree is like the idea, and we'll dive into it during the course. If you think about it, let's say I take all my previous customers and I see the income. Anybody that has more than 100,000 a year income, and all the people that have less than 100,000. And I find out that everybody that is more than 100,000 always pay their loan. And people that are less than 100,000, 50% of them paid the loan, 50% didn't pay the loan. So for me, it's obvious that anybody that will have an income more than 100,000, I will give him a loan. What about the people that have income less than 100,000? Should I turn all of them down? Definitely not. Maybe I can find another characteristic that will split those one. Maybe if somebody has a home, you always pay the loan. So I took now another branch. All the people that make less than 100,000, I'm checking who has a house and who doesn't have a house. And I found out that everybody that has a house also paid the loan. So everybody that has less than 100,000 and has a home, I will give him a loan. So that's using a decision tree to make a decision to give a loan to people. So that's machine learning algorithm. And we talk about how it's being done. The beautiful part is, as we go along, I will introduce those algorithms. I show you how you apply it. And you don't really have to be an expert with all the math, how it does it. Okay?
Almost, I have a question really quick.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so as you said, let's say a person's applying for $100,000 loan, they make under 100,000, so then they do the tree. Will they compare how much they'll probably look at their house's worth? No?
You're getting to a low resolution, absolutely. You're getting to a low resolution. I just gave a simple example, but your question is right on the money. Because let's say I look at the people that has a house and the people that don't have a house. And the people that has a house, I notice 90% paying the loan and 10% don't pay their loan. Then I say, oh, what's common in those ones that have a house and paying? And what about those 10%? And I noticed that all the people that have a house more than $500,000, for example, they always pay the loan. And people that has less than $500,000 income, they are the 10%. Their house is less than $500,000. So you're getting to a lower resolution in the tree. And we will talk about it later on in the course. But you're absolutely right. The tree can go really deeper and deeper to be more precise. And we talk about other problems that might cause, and you have to handle when you learn an algorithm like decision tree. Beautiful. Here's another example from Amazon. And that's really like a recommendation system. Many times you buy something and they tell you people that bought that kind of things, they also bought such and such. That's similar to a recommendation system I mentioned before. And probably most of you guys know that, you have seen that. What are related fields to machine learning? Some people get confused. You know what? It doesn't matter if you get confused or not. between machine learning and artificial intelligence. In a layman's language, artificial intelligence has more statistical and more sophisticated algorithm than in machine learning. But honestly, today, they are mixed together. I give you an example. We will talk about, and I will mention at least, and I will talk about it, an algorithm called support vector machine. Support vector machine was definitely in artificial intelligence. Today, it's almost part of all the books that you see in machine learning that will talk about support vector machine. So you see an algorithm that used to be just artificial intelligence, it is machine learning. So it's not that crucial. What's important is you deal with algorithm and you need to know statistics very well and computer science. What is computer science, by the way? And a lot of people, let me make an order. A lot of people get confused here. What is a computer science? Computer science, it's a branch of mathematics. And over the years, computer science had another branch inside itself, what it calls software engineering. And some people stay as mathematicians and develop algorithms. So when somebody says, I'm studying computer science, the next question you ask him, what are your focus? What is your focus? Are you a software engineer or are you an algorithm expert? Okay? And many people don't see the difference between the two. It's a big, big difference. Okay, I have a few more minutes and I just finished exactly as I wanted. And I just want to mention this one, and we're going to go over it very in detail in the next few sessions. When we do a machine learning study, it's a process. We start from a data, okay? In fact, we define a problem, we start from a data, raw data, we process the data, and as we process the data, we try to use an algorithm, and we get lost, and we see nothing is working, and this algorithm is terrible, and we go back to the beginning, and we explore the data again, analyze the raw data, we reprocess it, and then we apply other machine learning algorithm, blah, 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 and again and again and again. I don't want to go into the detail here, and don't try to memorize this picture because it's more involved, and I rather that you learn this process by hand, meaning we're actually going to do the process so you will know it by heart, okay? So in machine learning, it is step by step from raw data up to algorithm that can help me make decision or improve my performance. And this process we're going to do, and I'm going to demonstrate, and we're going to apply it to a real data. This is the last one, and I'm closing the session for today. Most of the time, after the first stage, here we say raw data, and we have pre-processed data, and then we process it for machine learning. What does it mean? What do we end up with? We end up with a table. In the table, we will have columns. Each column represents attributes, and each row represents a case. Many people call them case, object, there are different words for it. But basically, let me give an example, okay? If I'm doing a study on students, okay, and I want to see what might explain why a student, his average is so high, and why another student, his average is less. So I might take some data on every student, see how many hours he studied for the exam. Does it work or it doesn't work? Does he have a car? Does he have a home? What is his parents' income? Blah, 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 blah. All those ones are the columns. Every student will be a row. And that's my table to use to learn about those students and then try to understand why student getting a higher grade and why student getting a lower grade. And then try to improve, if I can, to help those students how to improve their grade. So the bottom line for next time is just remember, this is a table, okay, for the study. Let me finish the session by showing you something that I already have showed you. This is, for example, a table which is going to be for me for next, when we start diving into the code and using example, we're going to use this as a data set. So this is relative, each row here could be a point on the map, but it's also like a case. I have attributes of every location. And here, in fact, I'm trying to learn of housing in California. I try to explain why some certain places, the houses are more expensive than other districts. So every row here, it's a different district in California. One more time, just to show you that picture. This table, in fact, being used to make this one. So every dot here, it's a row in this table. So I use this table to make the painting, but this is basically my input to do machine learning. Okay, let me open the mute. I'm done for today. So I just really want to hear questions, suggestions, and I want to ask for volunteers. Anybody question? Let me just one sec, unmute. Any questions, guys?
No.
Well,
No.
beautiful. It's my first time since we started last semester. I finished right on time, everything I wanted, which is unusual. That's beautiful.
Perfect.
And you had even time to eat, okay? And I saw some people having a good drink. Good for you, okay? And I'm gonna upload the session up. Now, it's very important for me that the code will work for everyone and we don't waste any minutes in class time. So Moria was extremely helpful. Thank you, Moria. I think everybody should know that. Really, thank you. You're unbelievable. And what I would like to do, what I'm going to do, I'm going to contact Moshik. I know that he taught you the course. Moria told me. He's probably expert on Mac. And I'm going to make sure it works perfectly on Mac. I will make a video. And then I would like to make a session again with two or three of you with you. Make sure that everything works perfect. And then I make the video and upload it to our website. So we won't waste any time. If any volunteer just send me an email, I would really appreciate it. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, Amos.
Bye, Amos.
Bye, Amos.
Bye, Amos. Thank you.
Thank you, sweetie.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.